I'm just making a mockery of this.
Yeah. You did it far away from the mic and you threw the cap at me?
Well, I mean, the setup's not ideal at the moment.
Hello, and welcome to Flix on the 6.
Oh, wait, we're rolling?
I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me forever and always, the man, the myth, our resident non-superimposed hut, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
Non-superimposed hut or CGI Peter Cushing?
There you go. Yes.
Guys, if you've discovered a theme.
This week's flick is a throwback. It's been almost 40 years since the original Star Wars. And since Star Wars Day was recently upon us, it seemed like a good fit to be talking a little bit of A New Hope.
It's definitely because of that. It's not because we had any sort of technical difficulty seeing all the movies we plan on seeing.
Exactly.
It's not that. It's not.
It's not. But before we get into that, Al, what are we drinking?
Well,
what is this debauchery?
I'm trying to make sure. Well, the glasses were white. That's why the head is so lively. I'm just trying to make sure that we both have the same or close enough.
Don't skimp on me.
I'm not. I'm trying to get it right.
Don't get cheap on me. I'll take some of the yellow.
The yellow?
And some of the blue.
What?
It's a Vegas vacation.
I'm not as familiar with that one as I am with, say, Christmas vacation.
Fair.
So we don't always...
Cheers me.
Cheers?
Cheers me so I can drink while you talk.
Well, we typically cheers after we talk a little bit.
I'm in a rush.
To drink this delicious beer. Oh, let's do a taste.
What's that?
So, since we're doing the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, I figured we should drink Newburgh 5th Anniversary Ale. And since it's Star Wars, it's even more fitting that it's the Imperial
Love it.
Cream Ale.
I like that you realized that
5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
10 minutes ago, whatever it was.
Your head almost exploded.
Right? Well, I loved that.
Oh my god, our anniversary beer is called Imperial.
We were going to drink this one regardless during one of our, we've talked about it before, right? We usually record a batch of a few episodes at a time. So we were going to drink this, I just wasn't sure what episode. And I was like,
right.
40th anniversary, 5th anniversary, perfect. And then I read that it said Imperial.
What's not perfect is when we say the same thing at the same time. That's awkward.
Is it though? We'll let you decide.
The answer is yes.
So, what we have here, as you know, we do a fair amount of Newburgh beers definitely because we enjoy them and not because we're sponsored by them. So this is their Imperial Cream Ale, which they just recently, a few weeks ago, celebrated their 5th anniversary of, being around. So they took their flagship beer, the Cream Ale, and they made an Imperial version for this occasion. It's 12% alcohol by volume. So that's something.
You trying to get me wasted, Alessandro?
Well, I mean, I was planning on staying the night anyway. So. It's bottle conditioned, and this is what Chris.
You might have talked about this before. Bottle conditioned means
it means that they leave some yeast in there, add
okay.
a little sugar, and that's what gives its carbonation after it's been bottled, as opposed to forced carbonation. To celebrate the
as they say in the biz,
as they say in the trade, which is what our agreed upon vernacular. To celebrate the 5th anniversary of our brewery, I wanted to celebrate our very first beer, the Newburgh Cream Ale, and give it a little makeover. Our 5th anniversary ale is an Imperial version of our cream ale. Dry and champagne-like.
Oh, wow! Because I was going to say, what's in here that makes it taste like champagne?
Well, there you go. Put a little in your glass and raise a toast to the last 5 years. Cheers.
I'm going to raise a toast to the last 40.
Well, that too. To the beers we've brewed, the friends we've made, and the years to come. Cheers, Chris Basso, head brewer.
That's awesome.
It is.
Tasty.
It is not just champagne-like. Like, there is that, flavor to it. I don't know.
It's half champagne, half beer. Is that how you get me?
It was like the one we talked about with their Surly.
Yeah.
That it had that white wine characteristic to it.
Mm-hmm. This one I like straight up, because I actually picked it out before you said that, which is, I'm actually pretty proud of myself for it. Not to, but
it does have that character, and I forget. There's at least one style that specifically of beer that does use champagne yeast. Cream ale doesn't typically.
That's what it is.
Take that
champagne yeast.
I don't know. It said champagne-like, so I would assume that would be the case. The fact that flavor profile is in there, but I could be wrong. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know what yeast strain there. I know that they have a house yeast in general for their beers, but I don't know if that's the only one that they use for all their brewing. In fact, I don't think it is. But This is really good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
And you like their cream ale in
yeah,
general too.
I do.
Like their beers, so.
It's one of those, like, this is it though. I'm not drinking 2 of these. Like, that's like the kind of.
Well, it's pretty strong.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, that hasn't stopped me in the past.
Well,
it should have. We're not even going into that 3 philosophers story.
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
No.
We all have that story like that.
But
I talked about that. Well, at the point of this releasing, this will be the same week. Oh, this will be perfect. This episode. No, sorry, we're running this.
Yeah.
So this will be a little bit early, but those of you who listen, look out on the Spinchoon for part 2 of our top 5 beers, because there's a little bit of a story in one of those top 5 beers, because this will be my beers that we have.
I was hesitant about that project, but I'm liking how it's going so far.
Right? It was fun, and the reviews I heard, what little there was, were strong. So
the review was great.
The single review was great. No.
Something that never died on the first podcast that I did. We always talked about our listener.
Yeah, Detroit, right?
Yeah, just Rob from Detroit, our listener, our only listener. Which wasn't true, but we had more. But it was. You felt like you could reach out directly to him.
Reach out and touch him?
And then he would mail us. It was awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Constantly make fun of Brian, as we all do.
Well, goes without saying. Brian, hope you enjoy this episode.
Probably doesn't even listen, the jerk.
I mean, I know he's listened to some of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still listening, but...
Two-factor authentication. Brian, I'm going to ask you to tell me a number that goes along with this episode, and if you don't immediately respond, 48,652. I'll know you didn't listen.
There was some deep-seated stuff there. There was a little stuff that spilled over, isn't there? The Brian.
He's dead to me.
Brian, wow. You cut me off because I was about to say, Brian, we love you.
Oh my! This is the opposite of us saying the same thing at the same time.
Well, you wanted that little bit of tension there, right? You didn't want that perfect synchronicity.
Okay, we've got a whole different route.
Yeah.
A New Hope.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Like that movie? You fan of that flick?
Well,
A New Hope is nobody's favorite Star Wars movie.
That's not true.
I'm making the statement right now.
You're making an invalid or incorrect statement.
Whose favorite Star Wars movie out of the 2 of us?
Oh, it's not mine or yours. You've said that your favorite is Return of the Jedi. My favorite is...
I like that we have your Empire. I like that we have an Empire and a Jedi guy.
Well, it's
have
funny
these conversations.
Because growing up, my favorite was Return of the Jedi as well. And I think it was because I couldn't appreciate some of what makes Empire so great when I was younger. And now that I can, that's why I still love Jedi.
To be fair,
it's just not my favorite.
Yeah, like rewatching them, like I think Empire is a better movie.
Definitely.
But Jedi, I feel like is my favorite. I think it's just the nostalgia grab that it has.
Yeah, it's just
that's really all it is.
Continuing to cling to you. I still really enjoy that movie a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's just no longer my favorite.
Fair.
But for the longest time, going back, and this is cool. I think we'll do this a little bit. The structure of this episode pretty loosely, considering if you're listening to this episode. Or not listening to this episode, you've probably seen this movie. And we're going to talk about just kind of Star Wars in general, too, but like we definitely will focus on...
Full spoilers ahead.
Full spoilers ahead. When I was a kid, we were living in Vermont, and 5, 6, 7 years old, and my dad, Friday or Saturday night, a lot of times, go to Blockbuster and rent a movie, and sometimes, he would guide it, or sometimes he would let me just pick what I wanted, or sometimes he would get something that my mom would like. But after
Did you partake in the ritual?
The ritual?
Walking around the outer perimeter of the store and looking at every.
Well, actually, it's funny. The first couple of years.
Al doesn't read my articles.
Well, I forgot that you called it the ritual. I remember, and it's something we've talked about other times as well. So we the first couple of years, that I can remember, when I was younger, it wasn't even a Blockbuster. It was a local video store.
Oh yeah.
So that's how you
Select Video, good. Man.
The one with the curtain in the back.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It's funny because I didn't know what the curtain was when I was younger, and it was
on back there.
It was only after video stores no longer existed that I actually knew what that was. Because even late stages of it, we had a Hollywood Video and we had a Blockbuster. So when we were still renting movies, there was no curtain in either of those places.
In your mom and pop video store, did they rent video games?
I don't remember. I was young, and we had an NES or
that's what
SNES.
what I'm going with. We rented a couple of NES and Sega games.
What's I'm saying?
From ours.
But like, I just played when my parents were playing. Like, I couldn't even really turn it on myself early on. You know what I mean? Because I was too young. To do it.
We had a mom and pop video store. I think it was a Select Video. I think was the name of it, and it was on Highland. It was like right by the pizzeria. So it was Big Al's, Desserts Plus, Select Video.
Nice.
And at that point, everybody knew each other. So like they were all business friends, right? So like we all knew like.
I'm sure they came in for lunch or dinner.
Exactly.
Time, right?
So it's like, we'll give you food, you give me movies and ice cream.
and that was part of your article, right? Is that you guys had that trade?
It was awesome.
So I did read it.
I actually don't know if I went that far back. I talked about the Blockbuster pizza trade.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, okay.
This is the.
Okay, I just meant movie store.
Yeah.
Period.
But that was awesome. They had the VHS tapes. They took up so much space. They had their horror section had like these little like string lights that were like hockey masks.
Oh, nice.
It was a pretty cool place. I missed that place.
So anyway, to get back to what I was saying, my dad, we went and rented Star Wars New Hope because my dad loved it. He was working at the movie theater when the first one came out, I think, as a teenager.
That's awesome.
So he remembers.
That's so classic.
He remembers it becoming a phenomenon because it wasn't one when the first one came out until it had been out, and people were like, "Oh my god, this movie!" He said he remembered when they saw the promotional material, stuff like that. Like there was lead-in stuff to it, but it wasn't. They didn't know it was going to be a mega hit. They were hoping it was going to be a hit. They had no idea that it was going to become this cultural icon, right?
That's so crazy.
Just watching that unfold for him, I know it was cool. So we watched it, and from the get-go, I enjoyed the Star Wars movies. So I remember we probably started watching the first ones when I was like 5 or whatever, and then by the time I was 7 or 8, or no, maybe not, like 6 or 7. Let's say that after a year or so after, I remember I asked him to get Return of the Jedi multiple times, and he's like, "You sure you don't want to get a movie that we've like already seen a bunch of times? Like, let's get something new." Like, well, no, that's what I want to watch, and I could tell he was proud by it. And I think not terribly long after that, he just bought the set because like, I'm not going to keep renting the same movie. You know what I mean? That was when we first bought, and it was because I know something you wanted to talk about too. Eventually, the tinkering aspect. It was, I think, the same time that the first re-release was. 97 was the re-release on VHS still.
Yes.
So I had that one that had a Jabba the Hutt in Mos Eisley, which I think that was the first, in 97 was the first time that was a thing.
I believe so, yeah. Because they originally had the guy there, but they just cut the scene altogether. So like you can actually go see that scene.
Yeah, it's like a dude, he's wearing
like a fur coat.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Was that not in the original cut then?
No, it's not.
Because I remember seeing that scene a long time ago, and I guess it wasn't.
In the galaxy far, far
away.
What?
You know what it might have been? It might have been in the.
Gotcha.
Fuck you. It was in. They did some. Do you remember that 97? They gave some stuff before the movie started about what they changed and working on it and stuff like that. That might have been where I saw it.
Yeah,
they might have showed that scene.
They did,
and then
because
showed
it's actually
them doing the.
It's very important. I mean, when I say very, it's very cool. Like what happened there. Like it's because in that scene, like they wanted to bring it in because they wanted to. Like it's become this thing at that point. Like these 3 movies have obviously they've been out. They're like re-releasing them, making a bigger thing, tying them more together, bringing some characters back.
And that's an instance of tinkering that I don't mind because it makes a lot of sense story-wise.
What's funny though is that scene. I don't know if you remember the mini documentary about that. Is that Han walks behind him,
and it's whether he steps on the tail and stuff like that. Yeah,
and they have to shift the lens, they shift it so that his body goes up as a step over him.
Yes,
because he's stepping on his tail.
Yes,
and
But when the man was there, he obviously doesn't.
They wanted to. That was a challenge they had. They wanted to bring that scene in, but they're he walks behind him. It's like, God damn it. Yes.
I remember watching them show that, how they mapped the CGI Jabba over the dude, too.
Yeah.
Showing the process of building the character over it. I thought that was cool, and for back then, that was a pretty big deal for CGI. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because, a lot of those tinkering scenes, they they just don't fit with the rest of the movie.
Like
they're
too. Who shot first?
They're too advanced. They're too advanced. Like some of like the space scenes, like with like the planets like in the background, like or like vibrant color of like the planets. Like it does not fit with the time that the movie was shot. It's a little. It takes you out of the experience a little bit, but I don't care.
You mean you're upset by how when the Millennium Falcon is fleeing the Death Star? And the TIE fighters are flying around, and one of them is doing a barrel roll. And if you watch in one of the older versions, as the TIE fighter turns, its wing disappears. There's a quadrant of wing disappearing.
I don't remember that.
And I remember seeing it, like, because I remember watching that VHS a bunch of times, and I was like, what just happened there? Rewinding and being like, there's just, like, a section of wing that, like, just gets, like, green screened out accidentally as it's barrel rolling. It looks like it's, like, slicing a bit of like onion or something like that, and like the knife is disappearing into the onion, and then it's back as it's going, and it's tough to catch at first because it's happening in full speed. And I was like, I rewound it and watched it like 3 times. I was like, it like disappears.
It's really funny, especially with this on this topic of tinkering, which we'll get deeper into it in a few. But it's that you were recounting your story of renting this movie, right? I don't know that I saw these movies in order originally. I don't think that I did.
I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure I did.
I'm fairly certain that I saw Jedi. I think I saw them in reverse when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah. From just renting them. Like my dad would pick one up for me. And I actually he's not even a big Star Wars fan, so I actually don't really know how I got into it at such an early age, which is odd. Like it's by all accounts I probably shouldn't have, but it's just like I guess we just knew.
Yeah.
I was destined to love this saga.
I know for me it's because my dad was a huge fan, so
but,
he was excited to have me watch them.
Which is awesome. The way that you had asked him to re-rent the same movie. Which one was the Jedi?
It was Return of the Jedi.
So that was the same for me. I would ask my dad, like my mom, like he'd be calling to let us know that he was coming home from pizzeria. Like, can you pick up the one where the green guy falls in the pit with the spikes? That's not the case anymore. It has a mouth.
Which started your lifelong love affair with Boba Fett.
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty funny. It's like, a lot of it's like, oh, like, you just love Boba Fett because everybody. I was like, no, that's like a weird thing that I just remember. Like, he fell in the hole. Like, I like that one. The one where the guy falls in the hole. That's my favorite. But then they put a mouth on it, and they tried to make it that one. This is an instance of tinkering that it makes sense. I get it, what you did there, but for some reason it's less scary to me. The creepy pit scares the crap out of me for some reason.
More mysterious?
Yeah, the mouth takes away from it. The creepy pit with like the tentacles that just flop.
I do think it's definitely a better scene visually, the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
It adds more stakes, I think, but I think you're right. Possibly the creepiness.
Yeah, as a child,
more than
what goes in that hole? It's terrifying.
Watching the whole burp.
Yeah. Oh man, but that's funny though. It's crazy because like there's versions of that movie, and the thing is they keep re-releasing these movies like in like, oh, here's the original, or here's the not original with some of the scenes that are added.
Well,
there's so many versions of the goddamn movie out there.
Right? Where they gave you the option, if you want to go back, and you're the purist who wants to go back and watch, you can now. Mm-hmm.
But you still can't because it's still slightly doctored up.
Yeah, probably.
It's odd.
Or you get an edit like an I'm Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
That joke in Family Guy was so great. And I'm Hayden Christensen.
Scenes that really tinkering. So tinkering works in some places.
See, that was irritating. That one was an irritating one. I get from a continuity standpoint why they did it.
Yeah.
One that, even though it's probably more fucked up, that I actually liked though was redoing it with Ian McDiarmid in Empire. Do you remember that in Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader receives his orders from the Emperor in the original release, and even the 97 release? It's not Ian McDiarmid. It's some other dude. I don't even know who he is.
Yes.
It's some other guy.
Okay.
And they reshot it after the prequels were made and put Ian McDiarmid in it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I feel like I might have read back on that and vaguely remembered how it went down.
That I liked because that actually does improve the continuity. Recasting the Emperor didn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, Ian McDiarmid is a treasure as the Emperor.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite performances in movies anywhere. My dad, too. He loves him. He loves to cackle like him.
God, that's terrifying.
Right? You know, the infamous diplomatic immunity.
Oh my God.
He also loves the it is inevitable that the Emperor gives in Return of the Jedi.
Does he no?
Yes, he does that. Yes, from Revenge of the Sith. Yes,
Yeah.
He absolutely does that. No. He also loves from that scene unlimited power. Don't waste a drop of that beer.
Oh man.
Yeah, he loves the unlimited power line too.
But some of the tinkering bothered me, like silly, like obviously the Hayden Christensen thing I thought was stupid, but
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
not insulting, but stupid.
It was stupid. Yeah, I like you said, I understand what they did there. I'm not mad that they tried to do that. Like I get that, and I'm one of those people that's like, I love Star Wars. Just because I'm not up in arms about this does not mean I love it any less.
Yeah,
it's not a huge deal. Like just.
Something that I'm surprised to these 40 years later has still survived all the editing. On the Death Star, that stormtrooper still keeps hitting his head on the door.
Didn't they add like the thunk though?
I think they did.
Yeah, because in the original cut, it's just there's no sound to that.
I don't remember,
or maybe it's subtle, but
because it was only a few years ago that I actually noticed it. Finally,
yeah, they just add a straight up like bonk.
Yeah,
like
but it wasn't even because of the audio. Like I finally was like, did I just see that? And then I looked it up, and there's like a whole thing online where people talk about it. And maybe it's one of the things where that was the one place they learned how to laugh at themselves. Because I think a lot of the tinkering came from not the stuff that's continuity stuff, but a lot of it came with second guessing themselves.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that they've left that in is just maybe that's their one like nod to we're not perfect. And it's a legitimately funny thing to laugh at. And it's from a different time of like movie making. I mean, there's still technical errors now, but like that sort of thing doesn't really happen. That sort of error doesn't survive the editing process anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know we're talking a lot about just them as a whole, and the whole, which is fine.
But we're going to talk about New Hope a lot, specifically.
But that scene, I don't know if you. So the scene with Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker at the end of Jedi, for continuity's sake, it does make sense. What's really crazy is if you really think about it, having the actor under the mask be there as a ghost doesn't make any sense. Nobody knows what you look like.
Yes.
You see the.
That's
see
why
like
that one's more irritating to me than the Ian McDiarmid one, because that makes more sense continuity wise.
Which makes more sense?
The one with the Emperor, that makes more sense.
Oh no, I think the other one makes. I think this one actually does make sense if you really think about it, because you don't know what he looks like. That's the last. Like if now with continuity wise, you've seen episodes 1, 2, and 3. You know the last time you saw him pre-mask. That's what he looks like. Otherwise, it's just this odd ghost. Like when I'm a kid, I'm like, Dad, who's that guy?
You couldn't figure that out?
And he young, super young. No, I didn't know.
Okay. I don't remember. I mean, I may have asked my dad.
And he told me who it was, and I was like, oh, okay. Now it's like I understand. Like I would know that now, but like I don't know. It kind of makes sense. Maybe if they aged Hayden Christensen or something, I don't know. But it sucks that guy though. They just took him right out. His face. The only time you see him is his crippled face.
Well, so I don't remember which guy it was because there's like 6 Darth Vaders, right? There, obviously James Earl Jones as the voice. There's David Prowse, who I think was like the main guy who was like walking around in the suit all the time, and he was the one that when they were shooting A New Hope, they were just having him talk. He was going to be Darth Vader,
right?
And if you've ever seen the test footage of that, it sounds ridiculous, which is why they dubbed him over with James Earl Jones,
right?
Because it wasn't even like I don't know whether or not they actually tried to do it dubbed over with his own voice or not, but he's not a super intimidating like sounding guy, and I think it always stuck with him that they fucked him over like that. And obviously there's a different Darth Vader who does the fighting scenes, and then there's probably some other Darth Vader too. And I know you heard about like supposedly there was like really legendary fights between him and George Lucas.
I actually hadn't.
Him and David Prowse fucking hated each other.
Okay.
Like there was some story about David Prowse getting drunk at some big party with like the cast and crew,
a lightsaber,
talking shit about George Lucas and how his greatness wasn't being fully appreciated and this and that, man. So then it started to seem like, or at least that was what he was alleging, was that Lucas was trying to stick it to him at every opportunity after. Yeah, he's trying to stick it to him at every opportunity after that. So I don't know whether the guy who was the original Ghost was David Prowse, or if it was I'm struggling to remember now.
Whose crippled face do you see?
That's what I was gonna say. I don't remember. That might have been yet another Darth Vader. That's what I was gonna say.
Gotcha.
I forget. I don't know whether that was him or not. I'm sure if you looked it up, you could find it, but like it's not really worth it. But that was the point. Like, there's a bunch of different guys who played Darth Vader.
Sounds like a lot of effort.
Yeah,
I'm not willing.
And it's not like they were good. Yeah, right. And they're not going to do the Force Ghost with him with his weird egg-shaped head, that you see when he pulls the helmet off.
Yeah. That'd be great if it was just a Ghost Vader.
Yeah, like just
full
him
suit
in the suit.
Yeah,
like with the weird breathing
in his prime,
whispering breathing. Like.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess Hayden Christensen's as valid as anyone for that spot.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just like there was nothing wrong with what they had.
That's just one of those things that annoys me, though. It's like it's just fucking people online.
Like when you were 5,
pissed off about it. It's like okay, whatever.
When you were 5, it's understandable why you wouldn't get it. But if you were 10 or 12 or 15, like you should probably be like, oh, that's Darth Vader, right?
Yeah. I think I would. I think older, I would probably get it.
Yeah.
Because I don't miss much with movies. I feel like, but
I get movies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
you usually do that to me with the beard stuff.
I do. That's one of those things. Though, when I like, it's a twist is coming, and I haven't figured it out. Standing up. Yeah. Pretty happy that you got me.
I feel some degree of pride when I figure out those things. It's like, yeah, I got it. You were trying to pull the wool over my eyes, and I got it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
It's like I like actively thinking, trying to figure it out. And I'm not mad when I figure it out. If it's a good one, I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
But when you get me,
oh yeah, something like we won't get into it because in case people haven't seen it, but like something like Memento, like that.
Yeah.
I got parts of it.
Yep.
But when all the picture came together, I was like, wow.
I love that movie so much.
Right? I know you do.
Shall we get into New Hope specifically? Oh, actually, before we get there, still on tinkering. Another thing that was I was on TBS the other day. It was on Star Wars Day. They had them all airing.
I caught at least parts of all of them.
One of the tinkering scenes that I don't think I ever picked up on before, so it's actually kind of cool. I actually appreciate this one.
From New Hope or from one of the others?
From Jedi.
Okay. Is
the celebration scene. Mm-hmm. They go to all the places that you would recognize from episodes 1 through 3.
Yes. I think that was from 97, actually. I feel like.
Well, no, because there's Naboo. They might have added some in 97, but Naboo.
Oh, is that one in?
Is in there?
I mean,
and like all the Gungans are losing their minds.
I don't think I've actually seen that one. I've seen the one that's got Cloud City and Coruscant.
Yeah, so
I didn't know.
It really is the Cloud. I feel
that was 97.
Right. I feel like the Cloud City one though. I don't know if this was in 97 or if they added this even later than that with like the Naboo stuff. But there's a scene where they're celebrating in Cloud City, and if you look off to the bottom right of the screen, they have a stormtrooper, and they're just like hoisting him around, and he does the scream.
Really?
Yeah. And
I don't think I've seen this.
I was like on the couch vegging out, and I flipped the station, and TBS was on. It's like Return of the Jedi. I was like, okay, and it was the end, and I was like, oh man. And then that happened. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen that one.
I'm putting that scene on for you later because it is hilarious.
Or maybe I've seen it once and I just didn't get a chance to absorb.
That one got a hearty chuckle out of me.
I'm not sure if I've seen that.
But
which is funny considering like you had asked before, like I've had to have seen the original trilogy 50 times each, 100, like
right.
Like all the way through 50 parts of it, 100. Like like on a day when you turn it on and it's like you see half an hour.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Half of it. It's on. Oh, okay. This is what I'm watching now.
Yeah. Oh, it's Sunday night.
This is my afternoon.
At like 8:00, and like it's not prestige TV time. I can watch this for an hour until Walking Dead starts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like.
In a lot of cases, you probably should just continue to watch it after Walking Dead starts.
I'm kind of starting to get to that point with that show, which is really disappointing.
They always. I mean, it's just marketing and stuff, but they've
just gotten scared and safe.
Yeah, they always pull me back. It really, like, if you watch the first 3 and the last 2 episodes of the full season, and then the first and last episode in the mid season, it's the whole thing.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah,
on another podcast. So A New Hope. I said earlier, I made a statement that this is nobody's favorite movie. Maybe if you, I'm sure it is, like you were saying.
If you look out into the community, there's a non-trivial amount of people.
And I'm sure a lot of it too is like if it's your first, like if you're like our age now, and you're seeing, A New Hope for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like everything else is building up to that. I was a kid when I saw all of them. I saw them out of order. And Jedi is my favorite. Like it's just odd. But I would never say that A New Hope was my favorite. And it's like if I had the option to watch that or another one, I'm almost certainly always picking one of the other ones. Unless I specifically want to see that one. There are great scenes in that movie. There is just the interactions with Han and Chewie in the bar. Like I love that.
Yes.
That's so close. It's like Jedi's my favorite, but like that scene will pop in my head. I'm like, that's New Hope.
The audacity of the assault on the Death Star for that time that the movie was made, for being a kid and not having any concept of aerial dogfight, space battle type of thing.
Yeah.
That was groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah.
And it was cool stuff to watch as a kid that age. Like, building up that intensity, like especially when the final trench run is going on and like Luke is going in, and you switched off your targeting computer. Something like that, use the Force, Luke, The Force is strong with this one. All those lines are classic lines. And you get John Williams, who is as big a character in the Star Wars universe for never being on screen.
Yeah.
His music is transformative, and it's what made like scores of movies like matter, like in current times. I feel like I could be talking out of school there, but the way that the music crescendos and builds the intensity, like with among the best, like pick your most suspenseful horror movie or thriller movie or action movie. That movie adds a tangible feeling of that music adds a tangible level of stress to what's going on
100%.
As he's approaching the vent to shoot and Darth Vader is flying in.
That is an understated thing.
Like you can hear it in your mind when I'm talking about it, right? Like, bump, bump. Bump, bump,
yeah, like that,
bump, bump.
like a musical score really it captivates so much emotion in it, and like it's in video games too. Like there's video games that have an orchestrated piece behind it, way more moving in their storytelling.
Yeah, you can see
than others.
Even though you don't necessarily think of it for great storytelling, Halo music has been very important at certain points.
Gives me the chills every time I hear it.
The Mass Effect series, certain musical themes that have carried through and stuff like that have had huge weight,
Yeah.
And there's different ways that music.
I like that you said the way that you said it, though, like as a character thing, because like there's like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman. These are names that I can pick out of like without knowing that they're in like that they did the music for a movie.
Yeah, when you sit down and watch a movie,
you
listen and you're like, I know this.
Hey, you.
That was happening to me recently. I can't remember the guy's name now. I know it's another one of the famous ones, but when I was watching for the first time A History of Violence, the movie, Viggo Mortensen movie, and I was listening to the music, and I'm like, that's the guy who did the Lord of the Rings movies. I know this music.
That's funny.
And I looked it up, and it was like, it's absolutely that.
And like you would never like proclaim yourself an expert at something like that. Neither would I. But it's like when I have a hard time hearing in general. So like the fact that I'm able to pick something like that, I'm like, oh, like you got something. If you have me drawn to like your music, and then like most of like I would say probably 40% of the time that I'm working, I have like the best of Hans Zimmer just playing. It's like awesome focus music for me. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I know. My friend Mike, he for a long time would listen to a lot of the Lord of the Rings soundtrack at work, or like when he was studying at school, stuff like that. Like he'd be like, he would like snap a picture of it, like and send it to me, like concerning hobbits. Like that was like the name of one of the themes from like Fellowship. Like he goes, yeah, listen. It's like you're just like listening to it. He's like, yeah, man, I'm like working. Like he goes, it's great background music while I'm working. It's like
there's a buddy of mine. He actually used to work at the Blockbuster by the pizzeria. Me, him, and one of our friends went to see a couple of movies. We saw like Superman Returns and Scanner Darkly, which is an odd two movies to see in one sitting.
I've heard of them. I don't know anything about that.
He in his car he had like his awesome movie track disc.
Okay.
And he was listening.
Awesome Mix 1?
What? The Awesome Mix one, yeah. He had it in his car like on the way home, and he's like, this song. He's like, this one. He cranks it up, and he's like, this is that song from Last of the Mohicans when he's running through the woods like with its hatchet. Yeah. And he's just like, this is the song. He's like, don't you just want to like drive off a bridge in a blaze of glory with the song playing? I was like, we're on a bridge right now. Jeez, you need to grab the wheel at least. Yeah. But it's true. Like there's like music like that, like with no words, can make you feel something. Right? Like, and it's so cool. It's like that
thing we talked about in the well, I guess at the time that this airs, you won't have heard it yet. But
time travel.
The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 episode. Yeah, for those of you who are wondering, like, wait, how do you know what we talked about? Yeah. We're going a little out of order with what we've recorded already. But the way that I feel at the end of Guardians 1, the way the music crescendos, like that it pulls you into it and like gives you, it imbues in you that swell of emotion that is going on for the characters themselves.
I love that.
It's an underrated talent of the really great composers, I think.
And like the key to it is, I'm sure there's like 100 times throughout they're making a score or like seeing how they're going to overlay a track onto a film that they can do it. I feel like the strength is that they don't do it every time. They do it.
Well, picking your spots for sure, yeah. But seriously though, even on top of picking your spots, like who's hit it out of the park more than John Williams? No one.
Hans Zimmer. I'm in love with his music.
Well, okay, so here's one thing. Can you name any of his songs?
The names of the songs?
Yes.
No, I don't. I couldn't name any of the John Williams songs either.
The Imperial March.
Oh, okay.
Battle of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
The fact that I corrected you is your point, I guess. But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. But see, that's the thing. I can't pick up the names of his songs, but I can pick up the moments.
Well, sure. But the fact that even colloquially, like, you know a couple of them, like, who the fuck knows that?
Right,
other than people who study music, like. Right. But it's like it's still been imparted on us because of the essence of what he's done.
And also, I Duel of the Fates and played Jedi Power Battles on PS1.
Understandable. Like,
so good.
On PS1?
Yeah.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Okay. It's funny, like, I mean, Hans Zimmer is great, don't get me wrong. And although I'm struggling to think of, is he the one who works with Nolan?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do know a bunch of his.
Yeah. It's like I think it was in The Dark Knight, it's the entire opening of that movie is really, really great.
Yeah.
And the music becomes phenomenal. It's unreal.
But
he does like
I don't think that holds, like, because I feel like it's a lot of it's just tones, not cohesive full scoring. I know there's some
music is good,
but a lot of it's like just like for one moment.
The timing though is just so perfect.
And that's all great. It's just like, I mean, and the catalog of movies, and also I think Williams has been doing it for longer, right?
Yeah, probably.
But every Spielberg movie is John Williams. And how many classics are there? And how many classic themes? E.T., Indiana Jones, like all those, like Jaws, like all those movies, all those music, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like all those things are John Williams and they're Steven Spielberg. All the Star Wars movies, with the exception of Rogue One now.
Right.
And plus a whole bunch of other movies that aren't Lucas or Spielberg stuff. He did the Harry Potter theme. Like, that's him too. Like, I mean,
that's a great one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of people don't even realize that that's him too, because it's not a Spielberg or Lucas movie.
Right. Yeah. But the music just so good.
It becomes a character of its own.
I see what you're saying though. Like there's there's a skill just that these composers have where you can get the whole feeling and emotional roller coaster of a movie just listening to the soundtrack. I listened to the Force Awakens soundtrack before I saw the movie, but
did they release that early?
Yeah, if they didn't, I got it somehow. Because I know that I watched it before. I listened to it beforehand because I was listening to it while I was working.
That music that they play when they're getting ready to fire the Starkiller base for the first time gives me chills.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like I'm listening to it and like I purposefully didn't read the titles because I realized if
sometimes
the song came on and I read the title as it was happening, I would know where the scene was going. Like I know,
yeah, it could happen.
I can tell from the movie, like from the music, at like what points it's gonna get like it's gonna go crazy and not like yeah. But it was just like I feel like I experienced the entire emotional roller coaster of that movie of The Force Awakens like beforehand, and like then seeing like it overlaid on top of the movie itself, it's like I was when the scene with Han, I'm like, oh no. I was like, my heart broke before I saw this, and I just knew it was gonna be bad.
Yeah, because you even just sitting within that scene, it's like you could see it going either way for him. Mm-hmm. But if you had any insight into the music ahead of time, I think you kind of know
it's gonna get bad. Yeah, it's gonna get bad.
It's probably not gonna be a happy resolution, right?
Still didn't want to believe it.
No. Probably still won't believe it until episode 8 comes out.
Right. But
he's dead.
Episode 7. But episode 7.
Spoiler alert.
7. Episode 4.
Yes.
What? Do you have any strong feelings about still on tinkering, even though it's like it's like the last of our bullet items?
Yeah. We've talked about the most.
Yeah. Still on tinkering though, the fact that they renamed it like as episode 4. Do you care? Like when they did that early? They did that early.
What do you mean?
Like they did that before. Like they're gonna do 1, 2, and 3 for sure.
Yes. I always remember it as A New Hope.
So do I.
So it was at least in the 90s.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. That's another one.
It used to just be
known
up
in arms about it. I'm like, just what? Who? Shut up.
It used to just be known as Star Wars.
Right.
In the crawl, though, there was episode 4.
Not in the original crawl.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain.
I don't know.
I think this is important to get
because Empire always had episode 5 for a minute. That's why I'm saying episode 4. Maybe in 77 it didn't. But
that's what I'm thinking.
But by 80 it had to have.
I believe that's possible, but I'm fairly certain.
Did I get those years wrong? It might be 79.
You might have.
And 82.
By I'm fairly certain that it didn't have
77. I was right.
Because this is the thing that people complain about. That's why unless it was the title.
No, it's just that it didn't used to have A New Hope in there. That's what was the change, I think.
I don't think it said episode 4 from the beginning. I think it just said Star Wars, and then it just...
Well, I think it did because I think people always knew that there was a story coming ahead of time. Like, even one of my earlier conversations, I remember saying to my dad, well, what happened to 1, 2, and 3? He said, well, there was none.
Right.
He said there was some backstory that they didn't do. Like, it started kind of in the middle.
You vamp while I figure this out. You can start on the next topic. We'll get back to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean... You want to talk about like some classic lines, or you want to just go into some of our favorite stuff from the movie, like in general?
Yes.
Let's do some of that.
Both.
Yes, both.
I feel like they overlap.
They can.
Yeah. Something that I feel like you're going to bring up is the 12 parsecs thing, because you brought something up in the future in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right. I did mention the parsecs thing,
yeah,
as opposed to the quantum. Asteroid field.
Yeah. That's just a silly thing. I like that they double down on it. And
well, you can't change it now. Yeah. Although they did change it. That was one of the things. Remember, I was talking to you last night. I was saying there's 2 things I picked up on Attack of the Clones that I wanted to bring up. And I couldn't remember one of them. I think this one was the one that was the less egregious one, which is also I think the less interesting one to talk about. But when Obi-Wan goes to visit Dex, the guy who runs that diner, after the Jango Fett assassinates the assassin, and he's trying to figure out where that thing came out, and that's where he first hears about Camino, and he's going to look for it in the archives, and they find out the archives have been deleted, right? He says to him, you'd find it about however many parsecs south of the Rishi Maze. So now it's a measure of distance again.
Right.
So they changed it even within its own continuity. So maybe Han's just stupid. I mean, he is kind of a dumb smuggler.
But he's not, because then they go back in Force Awakens.
And keep saying it. So that's what I'm saying. Actually, doubling down doesn't necessarily make sense. Or
I completely forgot about that line.
Well, so had I, until I just watched it.
Yeah.
I had it on in the background Saturday morning, and that point, I was eating breakfast, so I was mostly paying attention at that point. And I heard him say it, and I was like, really? Like, I didn't realize they actually said it somewhere else other than those couple times that Han said it.
This is from IMDb. I'm not sure if this is certain. Not to jump back into it. It says when the film was originally released in '77, it was simply referred to as Star Wars, though supposedly George Lucas had intended to include Episode 4, A New Hope, in the opening crawl, but 20th Century Fox did not want Lucas to do so because they thought it would confuse audiences.
Okay, but by the time I was watching it, I remember that being from a pretty early age. It being A New Hope. I feel like that edit...
It's very possible that
I think they made that edit on anything that they produced afterwards.
Sure.
By the time they
possible.
decided on Empire being made,
Yeah.
they must have edited that in for like the VHS release. You know what I mean?
That might be the case. Or also, did they? I don't know. Did they do a re-release? The year of Empire, they may have.
Oh, like a theater,
just
theater
like
release.
yeah,
just to get
because
people
at that
excited.
time, people aren't buying movies like we buy movies today.
It's true, but I mean, they did sell personal VHS back then. Like,
Yeah, but I'm saying, I mean, like you're probably more likely to go see to recap by going to if it's available, going for a night out. You know, I don't know. It would hold more weight then.
It's true, but either way, that's what I'm saying. I remember it from a very early age being A New Hope.
Yeah, so do I.
My dad always.
I don't remember a time where it wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Even though my dad, it took a while for him to start using that verbiage. I feel like he still always just called Star Wars,
right?
Or maybe even Episode 4. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why I think that had to have at least been edited in. The New Hope thing might have only been edited in 97, though. I don't know. Or maybe it was edited sometime in the 80s when they were releasing Empire and Jedi.
Sure, yeah. We'll have to look into that. If you know, tell us.
In case you guys didn't realize, we do the bare minimum of homework for this because we just want it to sound like a conversation. Like,
In a bar.
Yeah,
That's
in a
what
bar.
all the random noises are.
Maybe we're on the train, you know. I don't know, so. Well, don't do that. The cats will make enough noise on their own.
Sorry. I'm done.
You sure?
Yeah. 12 parsecs. Distance and time. Classic lines.
Yes.
What are some other ones that you love?
I'll be back.
Nope. No. Let's stay in the same.
Oh, so Star Wars classic lines. Something more like
Most Isley Spaceport.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
I knew.
Actually.
I had a feeling you were, because that's a great one.
I was going to say a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. You know, like that line.
That's how I talk about you all the time.
Wow. I'm a walking hive of scum and villainy.
I'll see myself out.
A dick. I'm just going to walk away, I guess. I drank too much to drive home, so I'll just go to bed early.
There was
7:30.
What else you got?
It's all gonna be me. I just gotta regurgitate all this.
I jumped in and stole that one from you, so now we're back to you.
It's just been revoked.
Stop! Stop going to other movies. This is actually a fun meta game. If you know the answers to where these movies came from, let us know.
No, it's your turn, man. I just gave you, and I know you always liked the Mos Eisley line.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'll give you one of them. I kind of half planned this, but there hadn't been an opportunity for me to bring it up here. But I was waiting at some point when we were going to transition, and we've almost kind of gotten through our things where the transition's not going to matter so much. I was going to say at some point, well, why don't you let me drive here? I'm not such a bad pilot myself.
Nah. Nah. You stupid. I think one of my favorite lines is probably
Wow.
just that in itself. No, I do love. It's a silly. I love the way that Han and Chewie communicate with each other. Very similar to Rocket Groot, or Rocket Groot is very similar to Han and Chewie,
Yes,
obviously. But I love that. Like they're just like they have like. I mean, it's not as
Let
crazy
the Wookiee win?
in this. It's
There's a classic for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just saw someone say that the other day on the 4th too. Like, you know, may the 4th be with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make sure your day's extra good, make sure you let the Wookiee win.
Right. I mean, not that it's like that only he can understand it, because it's their language. I just like that they have like it starts off kind of in that way.
Yeah,
like, this is the relationship
by the
like,
time
the two of them speak.
By the time it gets to like Return, you know, like Luke can communicate with Chewie.
Mm-hmm.
I've always found it. Have you ever found it like odd that certain characters can just speak droid?
Yeah.
With like no prompting.
Yeah.
And certain like
speak like as in like they respond in English.
Like they respond the way that like Rocket responds to Groot.
Yeah.
Because they similarly mean nothing to the average person.
Who did you have in mind?
Well, like, for one, and this is part of the reason why a lot of people think Rey is Luke's daughter, is that both Luke and Rey understand this droid that comes up on them out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Luke understands R2 from the beginning. He talks to R2 in A New Hope.
Right.
And Rey, in the same way, understands BB-8 from the very second that she meets him.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's odd.
Right?
That is odd.
Obi-Wan.
Oh, hang on. Back to Luke, though, for a second. Unless I'm thinking of... No, was it Anakin?
So that's the whole thing. The Skywalkers have proven able to do Anakin, Luke, and that's why people.
In what movie is it that R2's beeping about in a ship, and it's like the translation is coming up on the screen?
That is in Empire when they're leaving Hoth going to Dagobah. I'm such a nerd.
Yeah, great. No, see, this is very important. Why? Why? If you can understand them.
So I would assume it's because they were in the vacuum of space.
You can't hear it?
You can't hear it?
It doesn't transpond over his...
I don't think he talks to him like that. I think it... Since he's plugged in, I think
so the sound is just for us?
Yes.
Got it.
I would assume that was the reason.
Because he beeps about just for us.
Yeah, I would assume that's the case. Okay. Because from the beginning, he talks to him...
I'll let that one slide.
Right? And the same thing, like Anakin talks to R2 from a young age.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think both Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon do in Phantom Menace.
Do they?
Once R2 is first really introduced to us, when he's the sole remaining astromech droid that survives when the Naboo ship's getting shot at, and they like give him kind of the hero's welcome on the ship after they escape.
Yeah. They
talk to R2.
Huh.
And there's no translator droid.
So the R2 scream is also one of my favorite lines.
What?
Yeah, it's so good. I love that. It's that, the Stormtrooper scream, the Wookiee roar.
They'll come back strong. They'll come back and in greater numbers.
I have the death sentence on
12 systems.
12 systems.
I'll be sorry, or I'll be careful.
You'll be dead. That's great. Also, just another funny thing about A New Hope, when he tugs on the bartender's and
he keeps
shirt,
him.
I'm just like, what a dick. Luke's annoying.
Actually,
not a secret.
I was actually thinking of two separate things. I was thinking you were saying tugging on to talk to them, and what I was thinking of was in Return of the Jedi when they're trying to give C-3PO instructions to talk to the Ewoks, and he keeps like he says blah, 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 and he grabs him and he gives him a new instruction and he keeps talking and he grabs him again. He's like 5 times.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of when you were saying he pulled. Like I was thinking of him like continually like.
That is a good one.
Or how about these aren't the droids you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
How many different forms of media has that filtered its way into?
Yeah, that's impressive, right? Like that's like one of those lines that just stuck, and it's probably because it stuck on such a level with people that saw it at a younger age that became creative types.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it's definitely inspired so many different, in all forms of media: TV, movie, writing, video games, everything. There's so many different people who've, in some small way or huge way, been inspired by Star Wars, right?
Right.
Whether it be the classic lines or the themes or some of the visual aesthetic stuff like that, like. I've just realized now, talking about like stuff that has been like filtered, like it has nothing to do with this now, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That scene from Guardians 2. Semi-spoiler alert. There's a scene where there's a ship flying in, and it's a scene pulled straight out of North by Northwest, and it's always an interesting to see an old movie that's filtered its way, especially Star Wars. No matter what age you are, you know Star Wars, whether or not you're a big fan of it or not. That's like an old classic movie that people maybe. I've never seen the movie, but like I'm just familiar with it.
Yeah, it's just it's a cultural phenomenon. Like you have you'll have those lines like you just brought up. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Everybody knows what that's from. If you were to see a still shot, to touch on photography for a second, that still shot of Luke,
2 sons
with like standing there with the sons in the distance, and like just the tone of that shot. It's like, you know what that is. You just know.
Yeah,
it's like it's so cool.
Or just a scene of someone igniting a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All the different posters have all of them like that, yeah.
And you mean the just the still shots of it?
I mean both the still and the sound. Everyone knows if you hear of the sound of like a lightsaber being ignited, like everyone knows that sound. But also, I mean, just the visual of a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that,
Mm-hmm.
It's been on every poster. How many of you seen like I don't know why I always thought it was kind of like a cool like poster shot. I think I'm pretty sure it was made into posters too. On the skiff in Return of the Jedi, when Luke finally regains his lightsaber, after he's leaped into the pit and jumped himself back up, and he ignites it for the first time, he's standing there, and it's just the desert behind him.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back around to everyone arrayed in front of him. Just that scene of him standing there, freshly having turned the lightsaber on, and he's standing there. ready to fight.
Yeah.
I think that's such an iconic scene for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's just it holds such power. Those lightsabers.
Wow. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
To go into
to meld these two topics together.
To get into specific scenes, though, a couple of my favorites. Oh well, one of them.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Come on. One of them is the tap on his head. I think I guess it's Han when they take the two stormtroopers. They get their stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say actually it was Luke. It was a shorter one.
Yeah, probably. And
you're awfully short for a stormtrooper.
The dead transponder. Yeah. But he just taps his head. You know what's going on. It's just it's such a cool little.
Why aren't you at your post?
Yeah, it's such a cool that line in itself is something that's like.
That's
we all know it if we've seen the movie at least once. I feel like, but that's not one that's as obvious as.
It's not a quotable line, but it's something that has found its way into a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen that number or that alphanumeric designation used in other places.
That in 1138.
You see that, or 1138 or whatever. If you see those things, that's a Star Wars fan or Bay 94. That's found its way into things too.
Stormtroopers at the door.
The Star Wars cantina.
That starts off with the Mos Eisley spaceport.
Yeah, it does.
I love that song. That song is everything you need to know about Star Wars.
Yes, or the original trilogy at least.
Yeah.
So what were you saying? Is there more to that thing with the tapping on?
Oh, so I love that scene. It's it's this really tense kind of heist. Right, they're stealing the princess back.
Yes.
They're infiltrating.
I actually even though it's a little too on the nose, I like the idea of them recreating that in Rogue One.
Yeah,
when they land on Scarif and all of them are hiding in the cargo bay, and Bodhi calls the guys up, and then you see Cassian and Jyn walking out in Imperial garb, and it's the same thing. They, hey, we could use some help up here, and the guys run up, and they, that's great because it's the two different ways. You hear them beating the shit out of the stormtroopers, and then you just see stormtroopers walk out. It's well, what the hell happened in there?
The another great line in the movie because I just love I love Harrison Ford. And I love earlier Harrison Ford, and I love him as
Open
obviously.
Open the blast door. Close the blast door.
No, for me, it's the line that I'm talking about is when he shoots the comm.
That's made its way into
not that great of a conversation anyway. What does he say?
Boring conversation.
Boring conversation. Pop out. It's so great.
We're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine up here. How are you? Boring conversation anyway.
Another thing, it's a great character moment for him is when he shoots where Leia shoots the garbage chute open.
Yep.
But the head first dive.
Oh, by Han with the yell?
Just just jumps had no regard for what may be down there. Yes. Just head first. I'm out.
Not like them jumping with feet first was going to be great. Per se. If they drop 50 feet, it's not going to matter which way you fall.
Right.
But head first.
Yeah.
So you had to know there was some soft-ish landing.
That's great. And then,
also, wait. No, you know what? I have a problem with this now that I'm thinking about it. I can't believe I never thought about it before. Why didn't the stormtroopers just run to the top of that? It couldn't have been that far of a fall and shoot down and kill them. There's nothing stopping them. Right?
I don't know.
To
make sure that there's a next movie.
So it's plot armor.
Well, actually, I was gonna say, they might not have hit them if it went down, but it really would have created a shit ton of chaos if they were shooting down. The laser beams were blasting and bouncing off the walls like they do when he tries to shoot the door.
True. Well, so maybe they knew that, but wouldn't you at least think they would have been keep an eye on them, make sure they don't get out?
Now at that point, they're we can't hit anything anyway. Why do we even bother?
Or what if they climbed back up? Don't you think they guard the hole, is what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They didn't drop 500 feet, they would have died.
Right.
So it's
maybe
not that
there's
far.
A bunch of turns.
Oh, it's a chute, a garbage chute.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe it's staggered.
It couldn't have been because it wasn't a real chute. She just blew a hole in the wall.
It was a vent, really, is what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. You were kind of ruining this for me, though.
Well, it's a 40-year-old movie. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Remember, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to actually say that earlier. I was ragging on this movie as this is no one's favorite. That's not to say I don't absolutely love this movie.
I told you that I've watched it something in the order of 100 times in my life. I don't... But, you're inevitably going to pick on these... When you watch something that many times, you're going to find the holes in this, in the plot.
a movie that I love so much like this, I'm not looking for them.
Get this walking carpet out of my face.
Love it.
That's what I'm going to do. We're just going to keep talking, and when I think of a line, I'm just going to throw it in there.
Throw it out.
I'm just going to talk over you and get it in there.
I appreciate it. It's fine.
Right now, in our moment of triumph.
Would you like to continue?
You totally sandbagged this in front of all of our friends.
The walking carpet one is pretty solid. Also, it is A New Hope where he runs...
Screaming?
And then runs back.
Yes.
Great. And also reused another scene that is just used all over the place.
Yeah, great scene. Don't worry, we'll take care of this. And they run out into the bay and there's 500 stormtroopers.
Yeah. Well, that's another one that was doctored, right? Because I think it's only like a handful.
Yeah, I think originally
and but they do it like so that there's like a whole fleet.
Yeah, it's like a whole battalion in that that hangar. Like,
it's funny.
Which again, if you're gonna make a change, that's the sort of thing that makes sense. Like, can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to do that silently. No, you can keep talking. Don't worry, keep talking. I'll find a line to jump in with you.
I'm trying to think. Trying to think here.
Did I already hit you with "I Found You Like a Fate Disturbing"?
Yeah. I think you did like way earlier though.
Yep.
I don't think it was recently. What do we have to go into more class? Oh. And the whole scenery and like the whole experience inside of the cantina, I love. That's just one of those things that's always.
That's just like a slice of life, right?
Yeah.
In the universe.
Yeah, and like didn't they? I don't know if it was like
Shady
Disney Studios or something. Like
they
like recreated the cantina like recently for some Star Wars event, like where you can go there, like kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know if it was like a press event or something. I
don't know if I heard that.
I saw clips of people there, like doing interviews and stuff, and I don't know like what it was. I don't remember. It was a while back. I don't remember like the reasoning behind it was, but like that's such a cool thing. It's like because it really is so iconic. It's like I will totally spend a couple hours in the cantina drinking some shower juice and just yeah.
Well, maybe not a couple hours because you hear that song.
And
it's the only song
lose
that
my
they play.
goddamn play that same song.
Do you think John Williams wrote that?
Let's find out. Do you have any other scenes you want to discuss?
Well, how about just the opening scene? Like, kind of the audacity of, like, kicking the doors down like that. Like, I don't know if there's ever, at that time, was another movie that started off quite that way. There's been movies that, in more recent times, have started off, like, kind of in media res like that, but I don't know if that was, being that I wasn't alive back then, I don't know if that was something that was relatively revolutionary. I feel like, in my younger years, seeing that, like, was pretty kind of a standout. Did you find the answer? Sorry,
yeah. Williams was responsible for the original Cantina song in the 1977 Star Wars.
I mean, it makes sense. He was writing all their other music, right? Yeah. So it's just like that's not John Williams. I think he did what they asked him to do, type of thing. But just that whole idea, especially having just rewatched Rogue One the other day for the first time since seeing it in theaters, and loving hashtag that last scene though.
Oh, when so good.
And the fact that, New Hope starts off in a similar way to that movie ending with them...
Similar or exact?
Well, it's not the exact same scene, but the same thing is going on. It's stormtroopers and Darth Vader coming in to ruin your life.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's actually really good. That's really great for canon is because it that scene makes Darth Vader so scary that rewatching A New Hope makes that scene where he's there so much more powerful.
Then that's why I said that was our first blush we talked about in the Rogue One episode. How much that meant to me, especially when you consider the pussification of Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi.
Technical word.
That's the industry term.
In the biz.
In the biz. In Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. As opposed to this stone cold killer that Darth Vader is in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Seeing him come through the door, and he didn't even fight anyone in that one, but still you're like, what the fuck is going on? And this is before, you don't know shit about the Force yet, and he just picks a dude up and breaks his neck with one hand, Bane style. Like, I think that came out from watching Star Wars 40 years ago. Like, that's scary shit.
Yeah.
I don't think they played the Imperial March at that time yet. I don't think that was
No, I think... Didn't the Imperial March not come until Empire?
I don't remember.
No, I could be wrong. That could be it.
Do they play not that, but the thing that often leads into it, I think, when the Death Star captures the Millennium Falcon.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you might be right. They might not actually come until the Empire Strikes Back. I don't think I've ever quite realized that, because having seen them all so many times... it's just
something that you always
remember. They all kind of are now part of the
same... It's all one movie.
Yeah.
Let's be serious. It's just broken up into sittings.
But yeah, just that idea of him coming through the... it's not even just him, too. It's the Stormtroopers coming out through the smoke and just blasting away. And,
right.
The Rebels pathetically not hitting anything. They're worse than the Stormtroopers in that scene. They hit less.
It's the opposite day.
Yeah, right? Actually, that scene frustrates me because they had the defensively superior position with some form of cutouts, too. And also, they could have just been firing into the doorway and they wait until after the Stormtroopers are in the room to start firing.
It's not the best, Al.
It's borderline the worst. But yeah, that idea of him coming through, just coming in, they capture the ship. This is outer space shit. In the 70s, that's not a thing, really. Star Trek's been around, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And you see that in the...
Over here! Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to jump in with
a line. No, go ahead.
I'm saved! Just thought of that. I was replaying the scenes in my head, and as it goes through, and
glow, and this one's got a bad motivator.
that was a little too on the nose.
Well, that was the idea. Was that not a classic line, though?
Luke, stop whining. You see that? They're dead.
It all just seems so far from here. That's your uncle talking. You've just taken your first step into a larger world.
Oh my god.
That was a better classic line than the motivator line.
That's true.
I'm starting to get... I'll take the leader. Pull up. That was a good one.
just pull up.
They came in from behind! That's a classic line for different reasons.
God. Oh god.
Red 5 standing by.
It's really funny. So, short story here we do our releases for work. Our code releases on usually every other Tuesday.
Okay.
And I'm not first in the list of people that releases things. I'm usually I follow up something that goes out because my work usually depends on, or our work on the front end depends on something else that has to go out. So when we're all ready, it's everybody good to go. Red 5 standing by is
nice.
Is
okay.
Always the line.
Fantastic, and that's the right the right industry for that.
Yep.
Or how about
it's just become a standard.
Yeah. Wait, fuck! I just had one and I can't remember it now. Wait.
Oh, we'll wait.
Wait.
As awkward and painful as it is.
Wait.
We'll continue to wait.
Wait.
For you.
Go on, I'll remember. Go ahead.
I don't really have anything else.
Well, is there any other scenes you'd like to talk about?
I mean...
How about the...
I feel like we're just avoiding the whole Han Greedo scene.
Oh, we can talk about that. Well, there's no reason not to. Let's do it. That's your favorite scene to get mad about.
Yeah.
A lot of people's favorite scene to get mad about.
Yeah. That's the only one
where
Calm
down, man. This is literally...
That's the only one where I side with the folks that are up in arms about it.
This is literally your best opportunity to vent.
I don't even want to. I feel like everybody's talked about it. So? It's been talked to death.
Maybe you'll do it better.
It's just I just agree with the frustration and the anger that is projected at that scene.
No, I've seen you get your blood up over this.
Yeah, I'm not going there again.
Go for it, man.
No.
Do it.
I already had that stroke.
That's concerning. But it's not a concerning hobbit, but it's concerning.
But it's just it really hurts that character taking that away. Yeah. Or
as if I meant Garrido there.
Or yeah. Literally hurts him.
Well, right in the head.
No, it's just it's just why do I've heard your reasoning. Why? It's just
I don't think the reasoning was terrible. You can still question the motivation or whatever. I think it can go either way. The funny thing is, actually, it took Gareth Edwards to correct that wrong. And it was a scene that you didn't necessarily feel worked, but I thought did. Having Cassian execute that dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of righting that sin, isn't it? Showing you the lengths to which you'll do what you have to do. We tried to make Han a little more honorable than he really was. Whereas he really doesn't become honorable until he saves Luke.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it lends the same way because, like, wait,
it's not the same.
Like with I maybe to a point I understand what you're saying, but with Cassian, it's like you said, it's like I'll do what I have to do. The Han thing is like I gotta save my ass right now.
Well, he's doing what he has to do.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's just like it's very very selfish and all about me.
Well, you can question like whether it was more altruistic from Cassian's standpoint because he had the resistance to worry about, or the rebellion at this point, I guess. And with Han,
there's no. But
I'm not going to get paid if I die. But either way, it was self-preservation.
Yeah, Han's not trying to make the argument of like doing it for the greater good, though. I feel like
that's not what I meant. I meant more showing that side of the character that they're willing to kill someone without having the provocation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. In fact, it's worse what Cassian did because it was a quote-unquote innocent person, supposedly his friend, but also necessary thing to do, as shitty as it is. I'm upset. I can't remember this line.
I want to know what I really want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say.
When does it happen?
That's what I think. It was something around the trench run because that's kind of where I was. Where I came in from behind and all that.
Yeah.
Porkins or Forkins, whichever one he actually is. I guess he's Forkins, right? Porkins is what they called him. Isn't that what they called him? Blue Harvest.
I think it is Porkins.
Maybe it is Porkins.
Yeah.
Either way, that fat fuck gets shot down.
There was was played in...
Oh, well, there's actually another one from that whole scene. I can't believe we haven't got it because it is another great one. Stay on target. I don't know why. It's whether it's... I love that line.
I feel like I've used that during our release as well.
That's what I'm saying.
If everyone's talking,
I've 100% used that in random conversation before. Not appropriately.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Jack Porkins. It is Porkins.
Porkins, okay.
Yeah. So I was into a game for a while. It was the X-Wings miniature.
Yeah,
that's right. I think I showed it to you a couple times. Tabletop game where you fly these ships around and fight. Entered a tournament with one of my buddies, and I got way further than I should have in that way further than I should have. But if you came in like a certain place, you got the Jack Porkins award, and it was an apron with just like his face front and center. Like, obviously in gear.
So it would have been perfect when it had grease stains on it, because I imagine that when he was shot down, he had grease stains on his face. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Brave man.
But the last place prize, which is what my buddy got, was the Jar Jar Binks Award.
Nice.
And it was just like a gaudy Jar Jar watch, I think.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That game's fun. That tabletop game.
Right.
If you're into tabletop games and you haven't played X-Wing Miniature, give it a go.
I don't think I've ever played any of this, so...
It's fun. We like flying ships around on the table. But
is there anything else you want to say?
I think I'm good. Are you good?
I'm pretty good.
You're pretty good? All right. That's it for this week's Flix 6. Check out Spinchoon.com to catch a new episode every Monday and a new article every Thursday. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can reach us at The Spinchoon on Twitter and Facebook, or email thespinchoon@gmail.com. That's THESPINCHOON @gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in.